Yeah. Good morning. So can you please confirm my voice is audible?
Yes, audible.
So as part of yesterday's session, we started discussing about big data concepts, and we discussed about Hadoop concepts, and we started discussing about Pyspark. So within the Pyspark, we discussed about what are the features of Pyspark and how it is working internally. So those are the topics we covered as part of our yesterday's session. Now today we'll continue with some other topics in the Pyspark side. So within the Spark, if you want to access the data, or I can able to say, we can access the data by using two different ways in Spark. So one we can able to call it as by using RDDs. Second one we can able to call it as with the help of data frames. So within the Spark, we can able to access the data by using the two different ways. So one we can able to call it as a RDD, and second one we can able to call it as a data frames. RDD is nothing but it's a resilient distributed data set. So we can able to say RDD is nothing but it's a kind of a resilient distributed data set. And one more way is nothing but by using the data frames, we can able to access our data on top of by using the Spark. Within the Spark, whenever you want to access the data, we can able to access the data with the help of the RDD or with the help of the data frames. But I can able to say here like this. In real-time projects, most of the times we will use data frames only. But you should have some basic idea about what is the RDD and what is the purpose of the RDD. At the same time, I'm trying to explain how we can able to access the data in the Spark by using two approaches. One is the RDD approach and second one is the data frames approach. But I am only giving the one more statement. If we are going to work in the real-time projects, most of the times we are going to work on top of the data frames only, because compared to RDDs, in data frames, we are having high level APIs, or we can able to call, we are having high level transformations, and compared to RDDs, data frames will provide best performance. By considering these things, what we are doing here in the real-time projects, we are going to use the data frames for the purpose of dealing with the data in the Spark. Instead of RDD, we are going to use the data frames as part of our real-time projects. But if you want to learn about the Spark, we need to understand about the RDD. Then only we can able to understand about the data frames only. For that reason, first we'll try to understand what is RDD here. You can able to say like this. In Pyspark, RDD is a fundamental data structure used for distributed data processing. So we can able to say in Pyspark, RDD is a fundamental data structure used for distributed data processing. Whatever the data we are reading from the file, or whatever the RDDs which we are going to create, that RDD is nothing but we can able to call it as it's a kind of a fundamental data structure which is used for the purpose of our distributed data processing. Yesterday we discussed, right? So we are using the Spark or we are using the MR for the purpose of our data processing activities only. So coming to Spark, we are creating a RDD object with the help of the RDD, or RDD is nothing but it's a fundamental data structure which we are using for the purpose of distributed data processing. And we can able to say here, RDDs are designed to be immutable and distributed collection of data that can be processed in parallel across cluster. So we can able to say here, RDDs are designed to be immutable. At the same time, as we discussed in the previous statement, it is distributed collection of data that can be processed in parallel across the cluster of the computers. whenever we are going to deal with the big data or Hadoop, we are going to deal with the clusters. In the clusters, we are going to have the multiple machines or multiple nodes. In all these nodes, your data is going to process. In all these nodes, what is going to happen? Your data is going to process in parallel. And for the purpose of doing data processing in parallel, here we are going to use the RDDs. Now here I am given the one more statement. RDDs are designed for immutable. What is the meaning of immutable? Any guesses? What is the meaning of immutable?
Cannot be changed.
Immutable is nothing but we cannot able to do any kind of changes on top of these RDDs. We can able to say indirectly, RDDs are only read-only, meaning you cannot change their content once they are created. Instead of that, what we can do here is we can create new RDDs on top of existing RDDs. So once we are going to create one RDD, on top of that RDD, we cannot able to perform any kind of modifications. RDDs are nothing but only read only. But what we can do here, if you want, we can able to create the one more RDD on top of the existing RDD. Just I will give one example. For example, I am creating RDD1, and by using this RDD1, I am reading data from CSV file. For example, just I'm giving the statement like this only. With the help of the RDD1, we are reading the data from CSV file. Now my requirement is on top of this CSV file, by using the country code column, I want to do the filtering operations. Now what I can do here is I can able to give it as RDD1 is equal to RDD1 dot filter of, I'm giving, for example, country code is equal to, I'm giving London. Just I'm giving the example. Now, if I'm going to give this kind of statement, what will happen? It will throw the error, because in this line, what we are doing here, we are giving the RDD1 again one more time. With that, I want to do the filtering operation. When we are going to read the data, for example, we are having 10 records. Now, once we are going to apply the filtering operation, with the help of the filtering, for example, you are going to get only 5 records. Now, in this line, what I'm doing indirectly, I am trying to update the data, or indirectly, I am trying to modify the data in the RDD1. But if you are going to perform this operation here, what will happen is, it will give error, saying that RDDs are read only. We cannot able to perform any kind of modifications on top of your existing RDDs only. Now RDD1 is the existing RDD. On top of this RDD, we cannot able to perform any kind of modifications. But if you want to resolve this issue, what we can do here, simply we can able to create the RDD2. Indirectly, I'm going to create the one more RDD, and on top for this RDD, what I'm doing here, now we are applying the filtering operation on top of your country code is equal to London. With that, you will get the 5 records. Those 5 records are present on top of your RDD. Indirectly here, we can able to say on top of RDD, existing RDDs, we cannot able to perform any kind of modifications. But if you want, we can able to create the new RDDs on top of your existing RDDs only. Now, as part of this example, you try to give the answer. In the RDD1, how many records we are going to maintain? We are going to maintain 10 records. Now, coming to this line, if I'm going to run, what will happen? This line will give the syntax error, because indirectly you are trying to modify the data on top of your RDD1 by using this statement. That's the reason it will give the error, because RDDs are only for read-only purpose. Now, for that reason, to overcome this issue, just what I'm doing here, I am creating the one more RDD, and for this RDD, we are applying the filter. With that, you can able to get only 5 records. Those 5 records are storing on top of your RDD2. So overall here we need to understand RDDs are only read-only, and we cannot able to perform any kind of changes on top of the RDDs. That kind of operation only we can able to call it as a immutable operations. Immutable is nothing but you cannot able to do the changes on top of your variable or on top of your RDDs. This is the one of the feature we need to understand on top of our RDD. In the same way, we need to understand one more thing, which is nothing but distributed.
Sir, RDD is a kind of database.
It's not a database, it is a kind of one of the Pyspark object. This is the one of the variable. Whenever we are going to load the data, what will happen? This whole data will be storing on top of your RDDs internally. Now tell me, this data is storing physically, or this data is storing only in the in-memory? Yesterday we discussed about that. This data is storing in the in-memory as part of Spark. If you remember, all the operations are happening on top of your in-memory only. What about the MapReduce? In the MapReduce, every transformation is going to hit your hard disk. For that reason only, MapReduce is going to consume lot of time as part of our execution. But coming to Spark, every operation is going to happen on the in-memory or in the RAM only. Now, where we are discussing about the RDD, within the Spark only we are discussing about the RDD. What is the purpose of the RDD? For the purpose of dealing with the data in the Spark, we are going to use the concept called as a RDD. So indirectly we can able to say, as part of RDD, whatever the data we are reading, that whole data will be storing in the in-memory. Now, for example, I read the data from the CSV file. All these records are storing in the RDD1 indirectly in the in-memory. After that, we are performing the filtering operation. After doing the filtering operation, now we are having the only 5 records. These 5 records are again storing in the RDD, one more RDD. That data also will be storing in the in-memory only. Now, after doing all the operations, if you want, we can able to perform write operations. On top of RDD, we can able to perform write operations. Once we are going to perform the write operations, then only what will happen? Your data will be writing on top of your hard disk only. This is the way we need to understand what is the RDD. Don't think that RDD is a database. RDD is not a database only. RDD is nothing but it's a kind of a object within the Spark. By using this object, you can able to read the data or you can able to perform any kind of transformations by depending on our requirement. But all those transformations are going to run in the in-memory because Spark execution is going to happen in the in-memory only. For that reason, whatever the data we are reading or whatever the filter operations we are performing, all these operations are going to happen on top of your in-memory in the Spark. At the end, if you want, what we can do here, we can able to perform the write operation on top of this RDD. Whenever we are going to perform the write operation in the in-memory, whatever the data we are having, that data we are writing on top of your hard disk by giving a file path. This is the way we need to understand how RDDs are going to work internally. At the same time, what is the meaning of the immutable here? Immutable is nothing but on top of RDD, we cannot able to perform any kind of modifications. Indirectly, RDDs are nothing but only for the purpose of read only. But if you want, what we can do here, we can able to create the new RDD with the help of the existing RDD by applying the transformation. These are all the things we need to understand as part of our RDD. Is it clear?
Sir, one small question, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, this write operation will be done on the another file or the same CSV file, sir?
It will perform on the another file, right? So, for example, if you are going to do it on the same file, what will happen? It will override the source file, which is nothing but you cannot able to access the source file again one more time only. If you want, what we can do, you can able to override the existing file also. But is it the good practice or we need to create the new file actually? We need to create the new file because here if you see this example, what is the requirement? I want to read the data from the file. On top of the data, I want to apply the filtering operation. Indirectly, we are applying the transformation. With that, whatever the result we are getting, that result I want to load into the other file. So if you want to load into other file, what we can do, just here we need to provide the path. In which file you want to load the data, that is the path we are going to provide. In that path, what is going to happen? It is going to load the data by depending on our requirement. If you want, what we can do here, if you want, we can able to override the source file also, but that is not a best practice as part of the real time. We are using the source file only for the purpose of reading the data. After applying all the transformations in the real time projects, we will write the data into the other files. That is the path we are giving on top of the write operations. Is it clear?
So sir, this write command will create a file and then write, or to the existing file it will write, sir?
No, it will create the file automatically. If you are given the path, what will happen?
Okay,
it will create the file. In that file, it will perform the write operation. No need to write the 2 lines of the code. Create the file separately, then write the data separately. No need to write the 2 lines of the code only. If you are given the write function or if you are given the write transformation, automatically what will happen? It can able to create the file. At the same time, in that file, it will append the data also automatically. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Now we need to understand. So if you see, what is the meaning of RDD? It's a kind of nothing but resilient distributed data set. Resilient distributed data set. Now just we need to understand what is the meaning of distributed, as we discussed already. RDDs are distributed across multiple nodes in a cluster, and it allows for parallel processing on top of the data. Again, I'm telling, if you remember yesterday we discussed about as part of storing the data or as part of doing the data processing operation in the Spark, what is going to happen? Everything is going to happen in parallel only, either storage or processing, everything is going to happen in parallel. Now, what is the meaning of distributed here? Whatever the RDDs which we are going to create. Now, for example, in the step 1, what I'm doing, I am reading the data from the CSV file. That entire data is present in the RDD. Now, tell me, this RDD is going to store in the only single node or it is going to store in the multiple nodes? Any guesses? Whatever the RDD we are creating as part of reading the data here, this RDD will store in the single node in the cluster or it is going to store in the multiple nodes?
Multiple nodes.
Obviously, your RDDs are going to store in the multiple nodes only, because as part of data storing or as part of data processing, it is happening in parallel on top of your cluster. What is the meaning of cluster? Cluster is nothing but it's the combination of multiple machines or it's the combination of the multiple nodes only. For that reason, as part of data storage or as part of data processing also, everything is going to happen on top of the parallel in multiple nodes. That is the reason we can able to call it as nothing but RDDs are distributed. Whenever we are going to create the RDD, this RDD will creating on the multiple nodes in parallel. At the same time, as part of doing the data processing also, it is going to perform the data processing operation in parallel. That kind of feature only we can able to call it as nothing but distributed feature. In the same way, just we need to understand one more thing, which is nothing but resilience. Out of this RDD or for resilience only. So resilience is nothing but indirectly we can able to call it as nothing but this is fault tolerant. What is the meaning of fault tolerant?
When one server is down, the other server will
take the it indicates that RDDs can able to recover from node failures. So because of any reason, if one node is going to fail, other nodes will take the responsibilities of the first node. And if first node is going to coming back, automatically what will happen? RDDs can able to recover on top of that node, which is nothing but whenever a node is failing, your RDDs are not going anywhere only. So here I can able to say, if one node is going to fail, other node will take all the responsibilities of the first node. Once node is back, it will take care of all the activities, whatever assigned earlier. Now see here in this process, as a user, we are not doing any activities manually. Automatically, your RDDs can able to perform all these operations with the help of your Spark RDD. So here, just we need to understand what is the feature we are having on top of the RDD. As a user, we are not involving anywhere as part of your node failures or as part of recovering the nodes only. Whenever a node is failure, what will happen? Other nodes will take care of the responsibilities of your first node, and whenever first node is going to recover, automatically what will happen? It will take care of all the old responsibilities. Same things are applicable on top of your RDDs also. For that reason, we can able to say RDDs are fault tolerant, or we can able to say RDDs are nothing but it is providing the feature called as a resilience feature. In the same way, just one more thing we need to understand. RDDs are having one more feature called as a laziness. As we discussed yesterday, within the Spark, what is going to happen? It is having the laziness evaluation, which is nothing but it will trigger the transformations once we are going to call actions. So till we are going to call the action, it is not going to perform any kind of transformations, even if you are going to define in the code only. Whenever we are going to call the action, then only what will happen? It is going to trigger the transformations on top of our Spark nodes. For that reason, that kind of feature we can able to call it as nothing but laziness feature. Yesterday already we discussed about within the Spark, we are having the feature called as a laziness feature. Same feature is applicable on top of your RDDs also. So overall, all these are the things we need to understand on top of the RDD. RDD. RDDs are nothing but it's a kind of a resilient distributed data set, and this is a kind of a fundamental data structure which is using for the purpose of our distributed data processing. And RDDs are immutable. On top of RDDs, we can able to perform only read-only operations. We cannot able to modify the existing RDDs. But if you want to create the new RDD, we can able to create the RDD. But if you want to create the RDDs on top of the existing RDDs, we need to perform some kind of transformation. With that, we can able to create the new RDDs by depending on our requirement. At the same time, RDDs are distributed, and RDDs are providing the feature called as a fault tolerant, or we can able to call it as a resilience feature. And coming to RDDs, it is also taken the feature called as a laziness feature. All these are the things we need to understand as part of our RDDs. At the same time, if you observe in the previous statement here, I'm saying that laziness is nothing but it will trigger the transformations once we are going to call the actions RD. But here we need to understand what is the meaning of transformation, what is the meaning of actions. Because these two terminologies regularly we are going to use as part of our Spark. If you are going to use the RDDs, or if you are going to use the data frames also, we are going to use the transformations, or we are going to use the actions. And for that reason, we need to understand what is the meaning of transformation, what is the meaning of the actions. So we'll try to understand that. We can able to say transformations are nothing but it's operations that create a new RDD from an existing one. So what we can able to say here, transformations are operations that can able to create a new RDD from the existing one. And we need to understand one more thing here. These transformations will perform lazily, which means they don't execute immediately, but instead build a lineage of transformations to be applied later when an action is called. So just I'm given the detailed information here. Earlier we are saying that it will trigger the transformations once we are going to call the action. Indirectly in this line also I'm giving the same information, which is nothing but transformations are nothing but with the help of the transformations, we can able to perform some kind of operations. Once we are going to apply the transformations on top of the RDD, what will happen? It is going to trigger, it will create the one more RDD. At the same time, whatever the transformations we are defining, all these transformations will execute in the lazy way. What is the meaning of lazy way, Andy? So as part of running the transformations, it will trigger all the transformations whenever we are going to call the action. Without calling the action, what will happen? It will not trigger the transformation. That is the meaning of our lazily. And coming to transformation, nothing but simply we can able to say these are the operations which we are performing on top of the RDDs. Okay. Now with your understanding, you try to give us some answer. Any examples which you know on the transformation side?
Map, flattening, filtering.
So map and flat map might be everyone is not aware, but everyone can aware about filter. So for example, what is the meaning of filter? We are having 100 records. On top of 100 records, I want to filter some kind of data. Indirectly, you want to perform one operation. What operation you are going to perform here? We are performing the filtering operation. Indirectly, that filter is nothing but we can able to call it as nothing but one transformation. In the same way, for example, I want to perform join operation. By depending on my requirement, I want to perform the join operation. Now, instead of calling it as an operation, join, we can able to call it as a transformation. And now, indirectly, whatever the operations we are going to perform, those operations only simply we can able to call it as a transformations. Now, on top of RDD, we can able to apply the different kind of transformation like this. First one, we can able to apply the map. Second one, we can able to call it as a flat map. Next, we are having union. And we are having distinct, and we are having group by key, and we are having reduce by key, and next we are having sort by key, and we are having join. So like this, Not only this, so we are having the other transformations also. Just I'm given the high level information. On top of RDD, we can able to apply all these kind of transformations. And now, if you observe, what is the purpose of union? If you remember,
Combine.
to merge the
Combine
data
both the data and give them.
between two different RDDs, we can use union. So coming to here, as part of meaning of union, what we can do here, whenever you want to merge the data between the two different RDDs, then simply we can able to use the transformation called as a union transformation. In the same way, what is the purpose of distinct?
To give unique
Fetch the
values.
distinct
To
values.
fetch unique values or distinct values on top of RDD. We can use distinct. So like that, by seeing the name only, you can able to understand what is the purpose of our each and every transformation. Coming to map, I can able to say it applies a function to each element of the RDD and it will returns a new RDD with results. If you remember, have we discussed about the map in the previous classes?
Yes, sir.
When we discussed about this?
Lambda
Nested.
functions.
If you remember, we discussed about lambda. As part of lambda, we discussed about filter with lambda. At the same time, we discussed about filter lambda with map. So as part of the Python classes, we discussed during those classes, we discussed about lambda with filter. At the same time, we discussed about lambda with map. What is happening if you are applying the map on top of the lambda? It is going to perform the operation on top of your each and every element. In the previous classes, we discussed about lambda with the help of the list example. In the list example, I'm having the multiple elements, and for each and every element, I want to perform the same operation. In the situation, we can able to apply the map with the lambda on top of your list. Because of applying the map, what will happen? Whatever the expression we are giving in the lambda, that is applying on each and every element of the list. In the same way, within the RDD also, we are having the concept called as a map. With the help of the map transformation, what is happening here? It is applying a function to each element of your RDD. At the same time, once we are going to apply the map transformation, it is going to create the one more RDD with the results, and that is the way simply we can able to understand what is the purpose of the map. In the same way, we are going to use the flat map. It will returns again a new RDD, which is going to contains only the elements that satisfy the given condition. So whatever the condition we are going to define, based on that condition, it is going to create the one more RDD for the purpose of doing that operation. Here we are going to use the one more transformation called as a flat map transformation. Indirectly, all these are just a keywords only, or we can able to call it as a methods. Here, instead of calling it as a keywords or instead of calling it as a method, just we are giving the naming called as a transformation. Now, by depending on our requirement, we need to pick any one of the transformation. By applying these transformations, we can able to apply all our business requirements on top of your data. For example, I want to perform the union operation as per the requirement. We can able to go for union, or I want to perform the join operation on top of the data as per the business requirement. Then we can able to go for the join. In the same way, you want to perform the grouping operations or sorting operations. By depending on the requirement, we need to understand what transformation we need to apply. But why we are discussing about the transformation suddenly here? Because on top of the RDDs, we can able to apply the transformations. Whenever we are going to apply the transformations on top of the RDDs, what will happen here? It is going to create the one more RDD as part of our program execution. To understand all those things, we are discussing about the transformations. In the same way, here we are having the one more concept called as a actions, and here we can able to say that we are having the list of the actions. Yeah, please.
Sir, what is the difference between the map and the flat map, sir?
So coming to map, what's happening here? It is going to apply the function on top of your each element. Coming to flat map, it is going to apply the condition with that. It is going to flatten the data. If you remember the exercise example, just 1 second. If you see this example, yesterday what I told you, whatever the data we are having in the file, that data is flattening like this. What is the meaning of flattening? I will give the space as a delimiter. Once we are going to give the space as a delimiter, it is reading all the lines of your file. After that, it is going to flatten the data. Flatten is nothing but it is taking the each and every word into the separate line. With that, on top of that, we are applying the map. As part of map, what's happening here? We are appending the value called as a comma 1 by depending on the requirement. But as part of the map, it is not applying the flattening. But when we are going to apply the flat map, what will happen? It is going to perform the flattening operations by depending on our requirement. That is the main difference between the map and flat map. Okay. Now coming to action set. So we are having the multiple actions. First one we can able to call it as collect. We are using the collect to collect the data or collect the RDD data or to print RDD data. So within the RDD, we are going to have the multiple elements of data. If you want to display all the data, what we can do here, simply we can able to use the action called as a collect. Otherwise, we can able to say it will returns all the elements of the RDD as an array. So what is going to happen here? As part of using the collect, it will return all the elements of the RDD, or we can able to say it is going to collect all the elements of RDD, or we can able to say it will print all the elements of your RDD. So for the purpose of collecting all the elements of RDD, we are going to use the action called as a collect. In the same way, we are having one more action called as count. By seeing the name only, you can able to give the answer. What is the purpose of the count? It will return how many number of elements are present in RDD. In the same way, we are having the one more action called as a first. It will return the first element from RDD. In the same way, we are having one more action called as a reduce. This we are using for the purpose of doing our aggregation operations. And we are having one more action called as a save as text file. So whenever you want to write the data, we are going to use the action called as nothing but save as text file. This is also kind of one of the action. In the same way, we are having one more action called as nothing but for each. If you want to iterate each and every element in RDD, then we can able to use the action called as a for each. So like this, not only this, so still we are having some other action. Just I'm giving the high level information here. As part of actions, we can able to see collect, count, first, reduce, save as text file, for each. Like this, we can able to see the different types of the actions on top of our RDDs. In the same way, we can able to see different list of the transformations. Now with the help of these transformations and actions, what we can do overall?
Create
RDDs and actions, we can able to apply our business requirements on top of the data while performing data processing. While performing data processing, what is the meaning of data processing here? Data processing is nothing but either you are going to filter the data, or you are going to join the data, or you are going to aggregate the data, or you are going to union the data, or distinct the data. By depending on the business requirement, we are going to perform different kind of operations on top of the data. That operation only we can able to call it as a data processing operation. Now on top of what we are going to perform the data processing operation, on top of the RDDs, we are going to perform the data processing operation. Now for the purpose of doing this data processing operations, what we are going to use? We are going to use the transformations and we are going to use the actions only. With the help of the transformations and actions only, you can able to perform all these kind of data processing operations on top of your RDDs. All these are the things we need to understand on top of our RDDs. Now we'll try to see all this information in the practical way. With that, you can able to get the clear picture. But before jumping to the practical summary, up to here, any questions or confusions, please ask me.
The transformations and actions are different.
Yeah, both are different. So coming to transformation is nothing but it is going to perform the operations. Coming to action is nothing but if you see here, as part of collect or as part of count, are we doing any changes in the data, or just we are going to replicate the data into the system? Collect is nothing but it will display the elements from the RDD. Count is nothing but it is going to provide the number of elements which are present in the RDD. First is nothing but it will display the only first element. Save as test file is nothing but it is going to store the data into the file. For each nothing but it will iterate each and every element on top of the RDD indirectly. If you see the actions, by using the actions we are doing the any operations on top of the data, or just we are fetching the data. Just we are fetching the data with the help of the actions, but with the help of the transformations, what we are doing, we are changing the data. If you are going to apply the union, what will happen? Indirectly, you are going to mesh the two different RDDs. Indirectly, we are changing the data by using the union. If you are going to apply the distinct, what will happen? For example, I am having 100 records. Once we are going to apply the distinct, for example, we are going to get the 50 records only. Indirectly, what I'm doing here, I am changing the data by using the transformation. But with the help of the actions, what's happening? You are not changing the data. Just we are going to retrieve the data. After retrieving the data, either you can able to display the data by using the collect, or we can able to fetch the count on top of the data, or you can able to save the data into the file. Those kind of operations we can able to call it as a actions. But if you are going to perform any kind of operations on top of the data, or if you are going to perform the modifications on top of the data, such kind of operations only we can able to call it as a transformation. Now with this understanding, you tell me, transformation and action both are same or both are completely different?
Yeah, different.
We can able to say both are completely different. Don't think both are same only, but on top of RDD you can able to apply the transformation, you can able to apply the actions also, but both are completely different. Transform in the name only you can able to see the answer. Transformation nothing but it is transforming one format of data into other format. For example, as I give the example, in a file we are having the 100 records. On top of that we are going to apply the distinct. With the help of distinct you are getting only 10 records. Indirectly what I am doing, I am converting 100 records into 10 records, or we can able to say transforming 100 records into 10 records by depending on the requirement. That kind of operation we can able to call it as a transformation. As part of action, what we are doing, just we are fetching the data from the RDD, and you can able to fetch all the records, or you can able to fetch only few records, or you can able to write the RDD values into the text file. Those kind of operations only we can able to call it as a actions.
Actually, in general, SQL we are using union and
Yeah, in the SQL side, I can able to say
yeah.
union is the symbol. You can able to call it as a transformation. And if I'm given the select, this select I can able to call it as a action. So with the help of select, what we are doing, just we are going to retrieve the data. After applying the union, whatever the data we are getting, that data you want to display in the output. If you want to display the data in the output, what is the keyword we need to use in the SQL? It's a select. Now you tell me, with the help of the select, are we doing any kind of changes on top of the data? Just we are retrieving the data by using the select. Just we are retrieving the data. So indirectly, select we can able to call it as a action. Union we can able to call it as a transformation. Is it clear?
So transformations are effect on the data, on top of the data.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Now just we'll see the practical study. But before going to the practical, just I want to give some more information here. Whenever you want to use the RDDs in the Spark, we are going to use the class, or we are going to use the object called as a Spark context. And whenever you want to use the data frames, here we are going to use the class, or we are going to use the object called as a Spark sessions. Please try to remember these two statements only, because this is again one of the entry question. How we can able to access the RDD in the Spark, or how we can able to access the data frame in the Spark. So simply we can able to say, if you want to access the RDDs in the Spark program, we need to create the object called as a Spark context object. But if you want to access the data frames in the Spark, then we need to create the object, or we need to use the class called as nothing but Spark. So these two are the main important things we need to understand as part of dealing with our RDD and data frame from the programming perspective only. So till now we discussed about everything theoretically, but from the programming perspective, whenever you want to use the RDDs, we need to use the Spark context. Whenever you want to use the data frames, we need to use the Spark sessions. Okay, just I will give a small statement here. We forgot to discuss about data frame. Data frame is nothing but we can able to say data frames are distributed data collections arranged into form of rows and columns in Pyspark. indirectly we can able to say data frames are nothing but it's a kind of a tables in our Spark only. Don't think that data frame is equivalent to the table. Just we can able to say indirectly data frame is acting as a kind of a table on top of the Spark. What is the meaning of the table? Table is nothing but it's a kind of a collection of rows and columns. Now, whenever you want to see the data in the file in the tabular format, then what we can do here, simply we can able to use the concept called as a data frames. With the help of the RDD, we cannot able to see the data in the tabular format, but with the help of the data frame, what will happen? You can able to see the data in the rows and columns format, or we can able to say you can able to see the data in the tabular format. At the same time, if you observe, coming to data frames also, what we are saying, it's a distributed data collection. Again, what is the meaning of distributed? Yesterday, if you remember, I told you everywhere we are going to use the word called as a distributed because entire Spark is running in the parallelity. Whatever the topic we are discussing in the Spark, every topic is going to related to the parallel operation, or we can able to call it as a distributed operation. Already we discussed about the RDD. RDDs are distributed. In the same way, data frames also are nothing but it's a kind of a distributed data collection. But within the data frame, what is happening here? You can able to see the data in the form of the rows and columns. At the same time, we can able to say data frame have names and type for each and every column. Indirectly, we can able to say on top of data frame, we can define the schema by depending on the requirement. If you want, what we can do here, we can able to define the schema on top of your data frame, and we can able to add the one more statement here. Data frames are comparable to our conventional database tables. So just for your understanding, I'm adding the one more statement. Data frames are comparable to our conventional database tables, or we can able to say our relational database tables. In the database side, we are going to maintain the tables. Tables are going to contain the rows and columns, and the same way within the data frame also we are going to see the data in the form of the tabular format, or we can able to call it as a rows and columns format. But tell me, why suddenly data frames are came into the picture? At the beginning, if you observe, I told you whenever you want to access the data in the Spark, how many ways we can able to access the data? First approach, with the help of the RDD, we can able to access the data. Otherwise, if you want, we can able to access the data by using the data frames also. And in the real time, what we are going to do here, most of the times we are going to use the data frames for the purpose of our reading the data from the files, or if you want to perform any kind of operations on top of the data in real-time projects, most of the times we are going to use the data frames. But why we are going to use the data frames mostly in the real time only? Because in the data frames we are having the high level APIs or transformations compared to our RDDs. And one more thing, data frames are going to provide the best performance compared to the RDDs. That's the reason in the real time projects, most of the times we are going to use the data frames. But as part of learning, we need to understand about the RDD. At the same time, we need to understand about the data frames also. For that reason, we are trying to understand both the concepts as part of our classes. Okay, now we'll try to understand the practicals here for both the concepts.
High level APIs means what?
It's nothing. So if you observe here, I mentioned that APIs are nothing but transformations. APIs are nothing but we can able to call it as a transformation, or we can able to call it as a APIs. Now in the RDDs, we are having the limited number of transformations, but coming to data frames, Spark given the option compared to RDDs. In the Spark, we are having the so many number of APIs. And for example, just I'm giving the example, in the RDD, you can able to apply the only 50 to 20 transformation, but coming to data frame side, you are having the 100 to 120 transformations. By depending on the requirement, you can able to perform any kind of high level operations with the help of the data frame. But with the help of the RDDs, we cannot able to perform the high level data processing operations with the help of the RDD. That is the meaning of the statement. API or transformation, both are nothing but same only. Here, if you see, I given the list of the transformations in the RDD. So I given the eight transformations here, but I think we have around 20 to 25 transformations in the RDD. But coming to data frame side, we are having around 80 to 90 transformations on top of your data frame side. That I'm calling it as a, in the data frame we are having the more transformations, or we can able to say in the data frame we are having the high level transformations. With that, we can able to perform any kind of complex operations on top of your data by depending on our requirement. Is it clear? If it is clear, now just we'll see the practical. So as I told you before, Andy, before doing the practicals, we need to understand whenever you want to access the RDDs, what we have to do here, we need to use the Spark context. Whenever you want to use the data frame, what we have to do here, we need to use the Spark session object within our program. So with that, you can able to access the RDDs, or we can able to access our data frames. We'll see the examples here now. So please open your pie chart. So please open your pie chart. And if you see here, this line of code study. So as I told you earlier, what we need to do here, if you want to deal with the Spark context, or if you want to deal with the RDDs, or if you want to deal with the data frame, we need to use the Spark sessions, and we need to use the Spark context. For that reason, as part of this program, what I'm doing here is I am importing the Spark session. Now you try to give the answer. What is the meaning of the statement? As we discussed in the Python classes. What is the meaning of the statement? What is the meaning of import?
We are importing the
We are
Spark
importing
session
the
libraries.
libraries, or we are importing the packages by depending on our requirement. And now as part of this example, I want to import the Spark session object, or I want to import the Spark session class. For that reason, what I'm doing here, just I'm giving it as a import Spark session. But where we are having this Spark session in the Pyspark.sql package, we are having the Spark session. For that reason, just we are given the line of the statement called as nothing but from Pyspark.sql, which is nothing but from this module, I want to import the object called as nothing but Spark session. For that reason, just we are giving it as a from Pyspark.sql import Spark session. By using this line, we are importing the Spark session object. After that, just what I'm doing here is, if you see this one, what is this? Any guesses? I given the department. Within the department, I'm given the finance, 10, marketing, 20, sales, 30, IT, 40. But what is this department?
Department is a table, and you are giving the data to the
It's a tuple, or it's a list, or it's a dictionary.
It's a list.
It's a list only, because if you observe here, I am defining all the values within the square braces. And tell me here, where we are writing this entire program in the PyCharm by using which language?
Python.
Whenever anyone is asking the question, don't give the answer. We are writing the program in the Spark language only. Spark is not a language. What is the Spark?
It's a framework.
It's a framework, okay? At any point of time, don't give the answer. We are writing the Spark programming language. That is the completely utter nonsense statement only. Spark is a framework, okay? Now, as part of using this framework, how to use the framework? To use this framework, we need to use a language. Now, here, what is the language we are using? We are using the Python as a language for the purpose of dealing with our Spark framework only. Because of using the combination of Python and Spark, we are calling it as nothing but Pyspark. Okay. Don't say that I am writing the programming by using the Spark language. Spark is not a language. Spark is a framework. But if you want to use this framework, what we have to do here, we need to use the programming language. What are the different programming languages we are having here? You can able to use Python, or we can able to use Scala, or we can able to use Java, or we can able to use the R programming. By using any one of these programming languages, we can able to perform the operations on top of your Spark framework. But as part of our class, we are using the Python in the combination of the Spark, or we can able to say we are using the Python language for the purpose of dealing our Spark framework. And for that reason, just we are calling it as a Pyspark. Okay. Now, if you are using the Python, within the Python, whenever we are going to define the variable with the help of the square brackets only, such kind of variable indirectly, what we can able to say? We can able to call it as nothing but it's a kind of a list. Indirectly here, I am creating the list called as a department. Within the list, I am giving the values within the brackets. Whenever we are going to pass the values within the brackets, what we can able to call?
Tuple.
It's nothing but tuple only. So here we are passing all the values within the bracket. Whenever we are going to pass the values within the bracket, such kind of values only we can able to call it as a tuples. Okay. Now indirectly here, coming to department, we can able to say this is list of tuples. Will you agree or not? This statement. It's a list. But in the list, what we are having, instead of having the normal values, we are having the list of tuples only. So we are having the multiple tuples within the list. That kind of thing only we can able to call it as a list of tuples. We are creating the list with the help of the square brackets. Within the square brackets, we are passing the multiple values within the brackets, that we can able to call it as a tuple. Indirectly, we can able to say department is nothing but here it's a kind of a list of the tuples. Okay. Now on top of this list, I want to create the RDD. But if you want to create the RDD, first we need to create the object called as nothing but Spark object. If you observe here, I am given the statement like this. Try to understand the statement only. We are giving Spark session dot builder dot. I am given the master. Within the master, I am given the local of 1. I will explain everything here. First, try to understand what we are giving. Spark session builder master. Then we are given the app name, which we can able to call it as a application name. Then we are giving it as a get or create. This is the static line we need to apply in each and every program. If you are going to write the 10 Pyspark programs, or if you are going to write the 100 Pyspark programs, and in every program, this is the common line which we need to prepare. With the help of this line, what we are doing here is indirectly. Here I give the statement already. So with the help of this line, what I'm doing here, just we are creating a Spark session. Okay. Here with the help of the import, we are importing the Spark session object. But here what I'm doing here, I am creating a Spark session object. If you want to create the Spark session object, this is the line of the code we need to write. Now coming to here, Spark session dot builder. Builder is one of the method we are having in the Spark session. Now here we need to understand within the master what we are giving. If you observe, to run our Spark applications or to run our Spark programs, we can run it in 2 ways. First one, we can able to call it as a cluster mode. Second one, we can able to call it as a standalone mode. So what is going to happen? Whenever you want to run your Spark applications, or whenever you are going to run your Spark programs, we can able to run it in the 2 different ways. One, we can able to call it as a cluster mode. Second one, we can able to call it as a standalone mode. Now, any cases, what is the meaning of cluster mode? If we are having group of machines, and on that, if you are running your Spark application, that we can able to call it as nothing but cluster mode only. So for example, you are having the multiple machines and all the machines are working together, that we can able to call it as a cluster. On top of that cluster, if you are going to trigger your Spark application, or if you are going to triggering your Spark program, such kind of execution only we can able to call it as a cluster mode execution. Now, as part of dealing with the cluster mode execution, here we are going to use yarn, or we are going to use mesos. So whenever we are going to deal with the cluster mode, there we are going to use the terminologies called as nothing but yarn, or we can able to call it as a mesos. With the help of these 2 things, we can able to run our Spark applications in the cluster mode. Now, in any cases, what is the meaning of standalone mode?
So, sir, this program will be run on all the machines at the same time in parallel?
Now you tell me, from the beginning onwards, we are discussing all the data processing is going to happen distributed or in parallel. What it means indirectly? Your program is going to run on the single machine in the cluster, and it is going to run on all the machines in the cluster.
All the machines.
That is the answer for your question only. So whenever we are going to deal with the cluster, whatever the program you are going to run, automatically what will happen? That program is going to run across the cluster. That only we can able to call it as a distributed data processing, or we can able to call it as a parallel data processing. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Now see here. Now tell me, what is the meaning of standalone mode? Any guesses? I know we didn't discuss about this, but just I'm asking, any guesses? Very simple.
In our own system.
Yeah, correct. If we are running Spark application on single machine or on our own machine, that kind of execution we can able to call it as nothing but standalone mode only. So whenever we are going to run the Spark application on the single machine or on our own personal laptop or personal machine, such kind of execution or such kind of mode we can able to call it as a standalone mode. But if you are going to run your Spark application on top of your cluster, that kind of execution we can able to call it as a cluster mode. But tell me, how this Spark programming can able to understand it is running in the local mode or it is running in the cluster mode? for the purpose of understanding that information. Here we are going to use the keyword called as nothing but master. With the help of the master, we are defining this program you want to run in the standalone mode, or you want to run this program in the cluster mode only. Now, whenever you want to run the program in the local mode, or if you want to run the program in the standalone mode, or if you want to run the program in your local system, in the situation, here we are passing the argument called as a local. Indirectly, we need to understand with the help of the master, we are going to define in which mode you want to run the program. You want to run the program in the cluster mode, or you want to run the program in the standalone mode. If you want to run the program in the standalone mode, then what is the argument we need to pass here? We need to pass the argument called as a local. With the help of the local, we need to pass the standalone mode execution. Now, when we are given the local, here we have to give the value called as a greater than 0. You can give it as a 1 or 2 or 3 or 4, or we can able to give it as a star. But any cases, what is the meaning of 1 here? Any guesses? What is the meaning of 1? Just observe. Within our laptop, actually, it will run on multiple cores. It might be your laptop is a kind of a 2-core laptop, or it can be 4-core, or it can be 8 cores. In our laptop, we are having the virtual CPUs. Those virtual CPUs, indirectly we can able to call it as a core. And within the laptops, we are going to have the 2-core laptop, or 4-core laptop, or 8-core laptop. Now here, if I'm giving the 1, what will happen here? Your entire execution is going to happen on top of the single core. For example, if I'm given the 2, what will happen here? Your execution is going to happen on top of the 2 cores only. If I'm given the 4, your execution is going to happen on top of the 4 cores. For example, your laptop is having the only 2-core configuration, but we are given the 4. What will happen? Your laptop is a kind of a 2-core configuration, but here I'm given the local of 4. What will happen? It won't give any kind of error, but what will happen is, even if you're given the 4, it is going to verify how many number of cores are available in the standalone machine, or how many number of cores are available in your personal machine. With that, it will take the only available cores. With that, it is going to perform the execution. Overall, here we need to understand master is nothing but to define whether you want to run it in the cluster mode, or you want to run it in the standalone mode. To define that information, we are going to use the master. If you are going to run it in the standalone mode, then we need to specify the local. Within that, we have to specify the value. For example, here I'm given the star. Any guesses what is the meaning of star? For example, you don't know how many number of cores you are having in the laptop. In the situation, simply we can able to give it as a star only. Star is nothing but it will take all the available cores on top of your machine. On top of those cores only, it is going to run our Spark application. Overall, we need to understand master we are giving for the purpose of defining the cluster mode or standalone mode. Now, whenever you want to run it in the standalone mode, then we have to specify master. Within that, we have to specify the local. Whenever we are given the local, we need to specify how many number of cores you want to allocate. Here I'm given the star. Star is nothing but it will take all the cores as part of the execution. Otherwise, if I'm given the 1, it will take only 1 core for the purpose of our execution. At the same time, here we can able to see one more name called as a app name. App name is nothing but for this application, just we are assigning a name. Whatever the application we are writing here, for this application, if you want to specify the name, what we can do here, simply we can able to give it as a app name. So here I'm giving the name as, for example, RDD sample. What will happen? On top of this application, it is taken the name called as a RDD sample only. So how it is going to helpful here is, whenever your application failed during execution, we need to see the logs. Now, as part of seeing the logs, we can utilize application name to search logs for your specific application. So here, what is the meaning of app name? By using this, we are going to define our application name. How it is going to helpful to us? Whenever our application is going to fail because of any reason, we need to verify the logs why it is failing. But if you want to verify the logs, what we can do here, with the help of the application name, easily we can able to trace out the corresponding logs, and with that, you can able to analyze why your application is failed as part of our execution. To perform that activity, you can able to utilize the app name. That's the reason just we are going to define the app name. In the same way, here we are going to give the one more keyword called as nothing but get or create. Here, create is nothing but it is going to create the new session, new Spark session. For example, if any Spark session is already available, with the help of the get, what will happen? It can able to get the session. We can able to say here, get or create is nothing but for the purpose of getting existing Spark session or to create the Spark session, we have to use this. So get or create is nothing but for the purpose of creating a new Spark session or for the purpose of retrieving the existing Spark session. In such kind of situation, simply we are going to use the get or create ID. Now here, by using all these things, we are going to create what? We are going to create the Spark session object. So as part of dealing with the program, we need to create the Spark session object. For the purpose of creation of the Spark session, we are giving Spark session dot builder dot master. Master we are using for the purpose of defining in which mode you want to run the program. For that, we are given the master. After that, we are given the app name to define the application name. After that, we are given the get or create. With the help of the get or create, we are going to create the Spark session or we are retrieving the existing Spark session on top of your program. For that reason, we are given the get or create. At the same time, as I told you earlier, whatever the line we are discussing here, same line we are going to use in each and every Pyspark program. For that reason, we are spending this much of time on top of this single line. Okay. Now, once we are going to create the Spark session, now what is the main activity we want to perform here? I want to create the RDD. Yeah, please tell me.
So what we need to give in the master for clustered mode, sir?
Yeah, that I will tell you when we are going to discuss about the cluster. Actually, here just we need to remove the, we need to give it as a R. With the help of the R, we can able to handle this. Simply we have to give it as install local. Just give it as a So if I'm going to give the R, what will happen? It can able to understand we are running it in the cluster mode. With that, your program will run in the cluster mode execution. Okay.
Sir, here get or create is nothing but is it similar to like in SQL we write if it does not exist, right? When we are creating a table or database.
Yeah, you can able to relate like that, but it's not completely same. It's a completely different concept only. That create is a different and this create is a different. But you can able to compare like that. Get or creating is a kind of a creator replace something like that.
I mean, at the background, the operation is same, right? Like it will search for everything. If it doesn't exist, then only it will create that session, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Now see here, we need to understand. Till now, just we are defining the Spark session as per our requirement. Now, what is the main intention of this practical session? I want to create the RDD. Okay. So whenever you want to create the RDDs, we can able to create the RDDs multiple ways only. First way, what we can do here is we can able to use the method called as a parallelize method. Create the RDD with the help of the parallelize method. Whenever you are going to use the parallelize method, for this method, we can able to pass the input as a list. Indirectly, this is the data I am giving in the list. On top of this list, I want to create the RDD. On top of the list, if you want to create the RDD, what we have to do here? We need to use the method called as a parallelize method. At the same time, as we discussed earlier, whenever you want to create the RDD, what we need to use here? We need to use the Spark contest only. With the help of the Spark contest, you can able to create the RDD. Now here, with the help of the Spark contest, we are applying the method called as nothing but parallelize method. And on top of this parallelize method, just we are going to create the RDD. And from where we can able to get the Spark contest with the help of the Spark. Now you tell me what is the Spark here? What is the meaning of the Spark variable? This is nothing but our Spark session object. Indirectly, you can able to understand like this. With the help of Spark session object, we are calling Spark contest. With the help of the Spark contest, we are calling parallelize method. With the help of this parallelize method, we are creating the RDD. This is the one of the way we are going to create the RDDs on top of our Pyspark programming. Now tell me, with the help of this RDD, what we are doing? Whatever the data we are having in the list, that data we are reading into your RDDs, and you are having the data in the list. But whatever the data we are having in the list, I want to read the data into the RDD. For that reason, I am creating the RDD. How we are going to create the RDD? Whenever you want to create the RDD, we need to use the object called as a Spark context. And on top of the list, if you want to create the RDD, we are going to use the method called as a parallelized method. With the help of the parallelized method, you can able to create the RDD. But if you want to use the context, Spark context, we need to use the Spark session object. For that reason, we are giving it as a Spark session object. Within that, we are using the Spark context. By using that, we are calling the parallelized method. With that, we are reading the data from the list. Department is nothing but we are reading the data from the list. With that, simply we are going to apply creating the RDD. Now on top of this RDD, it is storing all these values. And now you try to give the answer. We are creating the RDD. After creation of the RDD, if you want to see the data from the RDD, what we can do here? If you see the list of the transformations. If you see the list of the transformations, by using the collect action, we can able to return all the elements of the RDD. And after creation of the RDD, if you want to see all the elements of the RDD, what we can do here? Simply we can able to use the action called as a collect. For that reason, just here I'm giving RDD dot collect, but it can able to collect only the elements. It will not print the elements. And but if you want to print the elements in the Python, what is the keyword we can able to use? We can able to use the print keyword. With the help of the print keyword, we can able to display all the elements. But how we are collecting all the elements here? With the help of the collect action, we can able to collect all the elements. After collecting all the elements of RDD, if you want to display the elements, we can able to use the keyword called as a print. This is the way simply we can able to understand how we can able to create the RDD and how we can able to collect the elements of RDD and how we can able to display the RDD elements on top of your output. These are the lines of the code we need to write. If you want to run it, just we need to right click and click on run. I will show you the output, then you can get the clear picture. Just wait for a few seconds. See here, whatever the data it is reading into the RDD, that entire data is displaying on top of your output. It is creating the RDD, and from the RDD we are collecting all the elements. It is displaying all those elements on top of your output. This is the one of the way you can able to create the RDDs. And so in the first way, what we are doing here, just by using the parallelized method, we are going to create the RDD by depending on our requirement. Now in the same way, what we can do here is, if you want to create the RDDs, we can able to create the RDDs by reading the data from the file also. But in this process also, if you observe what we are using, if you are creating the RDD by using the parallelized method, or if you are creating the RDD by reading the data from the file, in the both the scenarios, and we have to use the Spark context. Where we are having the Spark context, within the Spark session object, we are having the Spark context. And whenever you want to read the data from the file, we can able to use the method called as nothing but test file, or we can able to call, this is the one of the transformation we are having in the RDD. With the help of this transformation, you can able to read the data from the file. Here my requirement is, I want to read the data from the CSV file. After reading this data, I want to create the RDD. This is the one more way of creation of the RDD. First approach, we are using the parallelized method. Second approach, by reading the data from the file, we can able to create the RDD. But whenever you want to read the data from the file, obviously we need to use the Spark session. Within that, we need to use the Spark context. Now within the Spark context, instead of using the parallelized method, we are going to use the test file method. When we are using the test file method, we need to specify the path of the file. Here I give the path of the CSV file, and now in this CSV file, whatever the data we are having, that data is storing on top of your RDD. Just will run this. Now again here also after creation of the RDD, if you want to collect the elements of the RDD, we can able to give it as a RDD.collects. Now just will run this once. Try to understand what we are discussing. After completion of the class, I will share this file to you. During the practice, you can able to run each and every line of the code here. But please focus on the class, what we are discussing. With that, you can able to understand what we are discussing on top of this entire program. Now here what I'm doing, just I'm creating the new RDD, and for this RDD what I'm doing, instead of using the parallelized method, I am reading the data from the CSV file. Once it is going to read the data from the CSV file, it will create the RDD, and I want to collect all the elements of this RDD. So again we are giving it as a RDD.collect. With that you can able to collect all the elements of RDD, and to display those elements we are giving the statement called as a print keyword. With that you can able to display the data. If you observe here, just I will show you the file first here. If you see, this is the file we are having. In this file, we are having the column names, and also we are having the data. Now, all this data you can able to see in the output like this. See, we are getting the column names. After that, whatever the data we are having, you can able to see all the data in the list format. Now, you tell me, because of using the RDD, we are going to get the data in the tabular format, or we are getting the data in the list format?
In the list format.
We are getting the data in the list format. Now in the next class, we are going to discuss about the data frames, and during that time, whenever we are going to create the data frame, after creation of the data frame, if you are going to display the data of the data frame, then what will happen is it will display all the data in the tabular format. Earlier, I think sometime back we discussed, right? One of the main difference between the RDD and data frame is nothing but in the data frame, it will display all the data in the tabular format. But coming to RDD, it will not display the data in the tabular format. It will display the data in the list format. And now whatever the data it is reading from the CSV file, it is creating the RDD2. In that RDD, we are fetching all the elements by using the collect keyword. With that, we are printing the result. As part of printing the result, you can able to see all the values like this. Okay. Now you try to give the answer here. As part of doing this operation, as part of reading the data, internally, in how many cores this execution will happen? Any guesses? As part of this program, internally, in how many number of cores this program execution is going to happen? How you can able to understand this information? Internally, in how many number of cores this program execution is going to happen? How we can able to understand that information?
In the master
parameter. You see here I given it as a master of local of one. Local of one is nothing but your program execution is happening on top of the single core. And now tell me, it is creating the RDD. In this RDD, it is reading all the data of your CSV file. Now my question is, this RDD will store in how many number of cores? Any guesses again? Whatever the RDD we are creating, this RDD is going to store in how many number of cores internally? How many number of cores it is utilizing? Only one. Obviously, what is going to happen as part of storing this RDD also, it is going to store all the this RDD into the single core, or we can able to call it as it is going to create the only single partition. In the single partition, it is storing all the data of your RDD, and it is creating the RDD. As part of creation of the RDD, it is using the single core, because here we are given the local of one. If I am given the local of one, it is taking the only single core. In the single core, it is going to create the single partition. What is the meaning of single partition? Within the single partition, it is going to store all the data which is related to your CSV file. Now, for example, my requirement is I want to store this data into the two partitions, or I want to store this data into the two cores. Then what I can do here? Simply here we need to change it from local 1 to we have to give it as a 2 and at the same time what we can do here is, if you want to understand how many number of partitions it is creating internally, to understand that information, here we are having the method called as nothing but get num partitions, and this is the method we are having. By using this method, you can able to understand internally in how many number of partitions your data is storing. Now currently I am giving it as a 1 and I am given the get num partition. Now we'll see how many number of partitions it is going to return. as we discussed, it need to give output as a only one, because we assign the only one core internally on top of the single core. Your program is going to execute in the single core. Your data is storing in the single partition. For that reason, this line of the code should give output as a only one. We'll see that. Here, initial partition code. So just I given the print statement like this, and initial partition count is nothing but it is given the value as a one, because here I'm given the local of one. It is taken the only single core. In that single core, it is creating the single partition. Now, if I'm given the two, we'll see what will happen.
Sir, how do we know to give how many cores?
Yeah, that you need to understand how many number of cores you are having in your laptop. So this is for the standalone mode only. You need to understand how many number of cores you are having. I think if you want to find that information, you need to right click on the My Computer. There you can able to see the properties. Within the properties, you can able to see the CPU performance only. So if you go to the CPU performance, there you can able to see how many number of cores you are having in the laptop. Now if you see, it is showing it as a initial partition count is 2. What it means indirectly? Here I given the local of 2, which is nothing but in my system I'm having the 4 cores only. I given the 2, which is nothing but this program is running on top of the 2 cores, and whatever the RDD it is creating, it is storing all the data into the RDD into the 2 partitions. For that reason, it is given the count as a 2. This is the way if you want to understand in how many partitions your data is created or in how many cores your program is running. Simply we can able to use the method called as nothing but get num partitions, and with the help of this you can able to understand in how many number of partitions your RDD data is storing. Okay, so overall as part of this program, mainly you need to understand how to create the RDD, how to create the Spark session, what is the purpose of master, what is the purpose of the app name, and we need to understand in how many ways we can able to create the RDD. First approach by using the parallelized method. Second approach by using the reading the data from the file, also we can able to create the RDD. After that, we are trying to understand how we can able to understand how many partitions it is creating or how many cores it is using as part of the execution. All these are the things we can able to understand with the help of the single program. Okay, any questions up to here, please ask me. Any questions? If no questions, after completion of this class, I will share this program only. After completion of the class, please perform the practice on top of this program. But just I want to add few things here. One thing, we are almost reached end of the course. Okay, so we need to discuss about resume preparations. Don't worry, I will take care of this Sunday. Okay, so I shared the sample resumes already, but we need to understand how to prepare the resume, how to keep the roles and responsibilities. That I will take care, and I will take 1 or 2 sessions on top of this topic. What all are the things we have to keep as part of our resumes and everything I will tell. Second one, we need to understand our daily activities. As a data engineer in the real-time projects, what daily activities we are going to perform. That is the one more thing we need to understand. At the same time, we need to understand what is the process we are going to follow in real time, and we need to understand what all are the tools we are going to use in real time. So like this, we need to discuss about some topics only in the real time perspective. What are the daily activities we are going to perform? At the same time, we need to understand what is the process we are going to follow in the real time projects, and we need to understand what are the different tools which we are going to use as a data engineer in the real time project. Don't worry about all those things only, because I came to know that some people are worrying about all those things. So see here, course is not yet completed. We came to the end of the course. Okay, still we are having the classes for 5 or 6 more days only. In those classes, definitely I will try to cover all this kind of information. Don't worry about from the topics perspective. I will try to cover each and every topic which is applicable for our real-time projects only. So I please forgot about what topics I'm going to cover. Focus on what topics already we discussed in the classes. Please perform the practice for all those topics. At the same time, from my side, I will take care of all the required things in our coming classes. That is one thing I want to let you know. And second thing is, one of the very, very important thing, during one-on-one sessions I inform to everyone, please collect your certificates from consultancies before completion of the classes. So this is the information I given during one-on-one session. I think one-on-one sessions are completed 25 to 30 days back only, but I'm not sure how many of you are collected the certificates or how many of you reached the consultancies already, because this is one important thing, right? So before completion of the classes only, if you can able to get all these kind of consultancies information, what you can do here, you can able to upload the resume after completion of the classes immediately. Otherwise, what will happen generally after completion of the classes, if you are searching for consultancies, what will happen here? Again, you have to spend 15 or 20 days for the purpose of finding the consultancy. Again, unnecessarily we are going to waste the 15 or 20 days of time instead of uploading our resumes. And for that reason, my sincere suggestion, sincere advice, already if you take the consultancy or if you reached out to the consultancy, well and good. Otherwise, please reach out to the consultancy people. Please finalize any one of the consultancy and please try to understand what are the certificates they are going to provide. With that, what will happen after completion of the classes, immediately you can able to upload the resumes. And so why I'm telling this statement is, at present we are having very good number of calls on GCP. Okay, in last 1 month or 2 months only, around 40 people placed from our issue. Okay, so right, so 40 people placed in the sense, how many people attended the interviews, that you can able to guess yourself only. So 40 people placed from our issue in the that we are getting the so many number of calls and multiple people are attending the interviews only. Now here important thing is we need to understand how many people are getting the job. So out of these so many people in last 1 month or 2 months only, around 40 to 35 to 40 people placed from our institute. So if you want to place yourself, what you have to do here, first you have to prepare the resume, and before uploading the resume only you need to get the consultancy's information. That's the reason my very sincere advice, Andy, please try to get this consultancy information before completion of the classes itself. Already I communicated this information during our one-on-one session. If you're taking care of the statement, if you've taken the consultancy's information already, well and good. Otherwise, at least from today onwards, try to get the consultancy's information. In next 1 week, we are going to complete the course. Before completion of the course itself, you need to ready with the consultancies. With that, after completion of the classes, you can able to upload the resume. With that, what will happen in the current trend? Immediately, you can able to get the calls. And I know in the first interview or second interview, you cannot able to get the job, but you can able to get the experience on the interviews. And with that, automatically we can able to get the jobs in the third interview or in the fourth interview. But to happen all these things, what need to happen? First, you need to upload the resume. But if you want to upload the resume, what need to happen? First, you need to get the consultancy's information. For that reason, please try to take the consultancy's information as soon as possible. With that, you can able to upload the resume. With that, we can able to get the jobs very quickly. Okay, this is one thing I want to let you know. And one more important thing, please form as a groups. Try to have at least 3 to 5 members. Okay, it's your responsibility, Andy. So please form as a group, Andy. So if you're going to form as a group, what's the advantage? If you're having a 3 to 5 members group, all you people can able to discuss together. All you people can able to practice together. At the same time, during interview process also, if one person attending the interview, other 4 people can able to help you. So it's a kind of a teamwork. So what is our final target? We need to get the job. Okay. If you are going to attend the interview, if you are attending as a single person, might be you cannot be able to give the answers for all the questions. In that situation, what we can do here, if you are going to form as a group, remaining people can able to guide you, or remaining people can able to help you for searching the questions. And I know it's not a best practice, or it's not a kind of a legal practice, but we are not thinking about what is the legal, what is the illegal here. Our target is we need to get the job only. So if you want to get the job, here my sincere suggestion, please try to form as a group. Otherwise, forget about the interviews only. If you form as a group, what you can do here, all the people can able to discuss the topics together, because one person understand one topic, second person understand one more topic, third person understand the one more topic. Now, if all these people combine together, what will happen? All you people can able to discuss the topics in detail. With that, you can able to share the knowledge. At the same time, you can able to get the knowledge only. Now, once we are going to form as a group, what we need to do? We need to discuss about what? We need to discuss about movies, politics, and gossips. Huh? Okay, don't do this mistake, Andy. So we need to discuss about not only interview questions, Andy, discuss about all the topics, whatever we covered, and you can able to discuss about interview questions also, or you can able to discuss any doubts also. Because instead of focusing as a single person, if you are going to prepare as a group, Andy, definitely it will give more added advantage. One person can able to help to other person, that person can able to help to some other person. Like that, if you are going to work as a group or if you are going to form as a group, you can able to discuss about all the topics, whatever we discuss. At the same time, you can able to discuss about the interview questions. At the same time, you can able to discuss about the doubts also together. With that, you can able to get the perfect knowledge, and same group you can able to utilize as part of our interview process also. If you notice, daily in 609 room, we are having cabins. In those cabins, people are attending for interview. But here, one person attending interview. Around that person, you can able to see 4 to 5 people. So those are from the old batch people are. So they formed as a group. Once we are going to form as a group, if one person is going to attend the interview, what will happen? Other people can able to guide him, or other people can able to provide the support to him. With that, easily we can able to get the job. Again, I'm repeating, it's not a good practice, but we are not discussing about what is good or what is bad. And our final target is nothing but we need to get the job and we need to survive in the real time. Just I'm giving some small tips for the purpose of doing these activities, and just to form as a group. With that, automatically you can able to discuss so many topics at the same time. During interview process also, you can able to get the clear the interviews very easily with the help of your friends. And one more sincere suggestion, while attending the interviews, you can use our insured cabins. So in our insured in the 609, we are having around 7 to 8 cabins, and you can able to go there and you can able to utilize all those cabins for the purpose of attending your interviews. Why I'm telling is, if you can able to come to the insured, in the insured we are having the multiple students. Those people also can able to provide the support to you to clear the interviews, and that's the reason. Just I'm telling that whenever any interview got scheduled for you, if you want to attend the interview, you can able to utilize the cabins which are present in our insured. By using those cabins, you can able to attend the interviews and you can able to take the support from your friends. Okay, all these are some basic inputs I want to let you know. Yeah, please.
Sir, I am from batch 20. One-on-one session has not happened to me, sir.
Your name is Sirisha?
Yes, sir, Sirisha.
Yeah, sorry, at least all these discussions happening for the batch 19 people. For batch 20 people,
Okay.
so far I have started the one-on-one. I will start the one-on-one, might be this Saturday and Sunday. We'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
This one-on-one
Okay.
sessions are happening for the batch 19, not for batch 20. Okay. Now, just I want to take the just 10 more minutes, Sunday. Please wait here. Actually, just one second. Lalita, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm there.
Okay. So actually, I want to inform you that so Lalita is a person who got job recently. With around 50% package, 50% hike. See here, whenever we are posting about the any jobs, whomever got the jobs, Sandy, don't ask the company name, because company names are kind of a confidential information. And if you are going to discuss about any person who got the job, don't ask the company name. If you are going to ask the company name, they will feel it as a little bit uncomfort. You can able to ask the package or other things, but don't ask the company name. That's my sincere suggestion, because sharing the company name is not a kind of a good practice. Now coming to Lalita, he got a job recently and he got around 50% hike on top of her package, Andy. So she want to share her experience. Lalita, can you please share your experience for the interviews and for the course and everything? So why I'm taking this opportunity here is just to motivate you people, and so that you can able to understand how other people are tracking the interviews, how other people are preparing for interviews, and how other people are attending the classes. If you can able to understand this information from other people, that will give some kind of motivation to you. That's the reason just I asked Lalita to share her experience. I know we are wasting the time for 10 more minutes, but this is going to helpful for you definitely for your preparation or for get the motivation. These kind of experiences are definitely going to helpful to you. That's the reason I asked Lalita to share her experience. Lalita, please proceed.
Okay, thank you, sir. Hi, everyone. I'm Lalita. I'm going to share my experience. I just want to ask one question to all of you, and I don't want you to answer right now. Answer politely within yourself. Do you think getting a job in GCP is tough, is challenging? If your answer is yes, yes, GCP is a tough course, but in order to overcome the challenge, what we can do? Do you think 100% effort we are taking? No, 70% effort master has taken. He covered all the subjects. He in that subject also. For example, consider one scenario, how we are going to create a table in BigQuery. He will cover all the scenarios, all the possible ways. This is only one example. Whatever the subject he has taken, he covered all the possible ways for us. The reason behind is I have understood why he is teaching everything behind it. So finally, what is that? 70% master has taken efforts for all of us. Only 30% remaining efforts we have to put. Okay, so in the 30% remaining efforts, how we can do that? Just to refer whatever master has taken. I never wasted any of my time searching in Google or YouTube for the interview questions, I promise. And I do not even see the interview questions shared by master. Whatever he taught, with that mind only, I have, went and attended the interview. Okay, that helped me a lot. And I am from Chennai. I never took help from anyone. Okay, if I am able to crack the interview, and there are few more interviews I have cleared, okay, I will be getting a good package. I hope so. I am giving this confidence to you because if I am able to get it, you will also be able to get it. Don't think that I am from a IT background. I am doing all these years into non-IT work only. I don't have any prior coding experience, I promise. I don't have any prior coding experience. I don't have any SQL knowledge. I don't have any data warehousing concept. SQL, Python, data warehousing, GCP services. Master has covered 200% for us. The reason behind that is it's not that we have to get a job. The reason behind is even if you placed after the interview, you have to behave like a professional one. Okay, so even if you have missed, if you have not put all your efforts in the past, in the month of August or September, you still have time because this is a very good platform. Plenty of job opening is there. Okay, if you put remaining 30% efforts, definitely you will be getting a job. And that's it from my side, sir.
Hi Lalita, sorry to disturb you. How many years of kept the experience you in this?
4 to 5 years I have kept.
Okay, thank you, thank you. How much got you hike in salary?
That's the thing I told you already. So don't ask about the packages and don't ask about the company name. As I told you, she got the 50% of the hike. So might be, so people will not be in the comfortable mode to share the packages and company names. That's the reason. Please take the inputs about her experience or his experience, whoever is going to share the experience. Don't ask about the packages and company names. So people are not comfortable to share that kind of information. But here I given the information, whatever the existing package she is having, on top of that, she got the 50% of the hike. Okay. Yeah, thank you, Lalita. Thank you for sharing all your experience. Definitely, it will help a lot to all the people. But just I want to clarify one thing. So yeah, she's praising me because she got the job. But I can able to say, so from my side, as I told you earlier, I covered more than 50%. But from the effort side, she said that 70% I'm giving the efforts, and you need to put the only 30% only. But here I can able to say, I want to modify the statement. From your side, you have to put all your 100% efforts. Okay, she is saying so 70% I already taken care, 30% only you need to take care. See, I taken the 70%, but for the explanation, okay. But from your side, what you have to do here, you need to put your 100% efforts for the purpose of doing the practice, for the purpose of understanding everything, and you need to explain everything in proper during the interviews, which is nothing but indirectly you have to put 100% of your efforts as part of preparation or as part of practice or as part of your interviews. With that, what will happen? Easily you can able to get the job. Okay. So as she said, I taking care of 70% of the things as part of discussing or as part of explaining or as part of giving the examples. Everywhere I kept all my efforts only. But here what need to happen from your side also, you have to put same kind of effort. Just I will give small example. Last week I am having the throat infection. But even during the throat infection also, I taken the classes. If I'm going to cancel the classes, what will happen? Nothing is going to happen. No one will ask me the question why you cancel the classes, Sunday. But I taken the classes because before that I given the 2 days as holidays. I don't want to miss the flow for the students. For that reason, even during the throat infection also, I taken the classes. Here I'm not pricing myself. Just I'm saying that how much efforts we are putting to the students. In the same way, from your side also, please try to put the similar kind of efforts, Sunday. Now tell me, who required the job? Me or you? Definitely you require the job. Okay, that's the reason from our side, if you are putting the 100% efforts, from your side also what need to happen, actually here I can able to say you have to put 150% efforts or you have to put the 200% efforts, and with that what will happen, you can able to get the job very easily, Andy. So trust me here, getting the job is not a difficult one. Only thing is nothing but you have to prepare properly, you have to perform the practice properly. With that, getting the job is not at all difficult one. At the same time, survival in the real time also is not a kind of a difficult one. Once you can able to perform the practice for all the topics whatever we discussed, Randy, with that easily you can able to survive in the real time. But only thing is nothing but you have to put more than 100% of efforts from your side. With that easily you can able to get the jobs. Okay, any questions on top of all these things, please ask me. And after seeing all these things, please don't think that we are doing some kind of advertisement here. See, if you are thinking everything natively, definitely you will feel everything natively, Andy. So some people definitely will think that why she is coming and why she is sharing that experience. Sir is giving some kind of advertisement to himself. Don't think like that, Andy. So if I want to do the advertisement, I can able to do it in a different way also. It's not for the purpose of advertisement. So this is the main reason for this interaction is to motivate yourself. At the same time, if she can able to share her experience, that will give some kind of inputs to you, that will clarify some of your questions also. Only for that reason we are having this kind of interaction session with the people who got the jobs. Okay, any questions up to here, please ask me.
Sir, hello, am I audible to you?
Yeah, please.
Sir, I got an error yesterday, part 2.
No, we'll wait. It's not discussing about the errors here, we are discussing about some other topic. Just wait for a few seconds. Okay. Any questions on top of the preparation side, or any questions on top of this job side, or any questions on top of how you need to prepare yourself?
Sir,
Yeah,
sir, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, you're audible.
Sir, this is Renuka from old batch, sir. Sir, I'm trying to speak with you one-to-one. I haven't complete. So when can I meet you, sir?
Yeah, actually at present I'm not in Hyderabad only, so might be Saturday I will come to Hyderabad. Okay, so you come on Saturday and you can able to meet me.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
sir,
so yeah, please.
Sir, we have left some few lessons.
Your voice is not clear. Your voice is not clear. Just 1 second.
Okay, sir.
Other people, just 1 second. Other people whomever not having any questions, you can able to drop for the day. And in the next 20 minutes, I will give the update in the Telegram group, whether we are having class at 11:30 or 2:30. In the next 20 minutes, I will give the update to you in the Telegram group. Yeah, Chitra Puja, please continue.
Sir, one thing is, sir, please provide some project knowledge also.
Provide some
project knowledge, sir. Client project knowledge.
Yeah, that's the thing. So if you see here what I'm telling, daily activities, process which we are going to follow, these are the pending topics we are having. I will cover that information definitely. Don't worry.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay. Any other questions?
Sir, one more question. But we are covering a lot of things. Is that a 3 to 4 year experience can have to know each and everything mandatory?
See, if you prepare all these 100% of 100 topics Sunday, by the time of interview, how many topics you can able to remember? 50. Okay, during the interview, what will happen out of 50? You can able to remember only 10. Okay, if I'm going to cover only 10 topics during the interview process, what will happen? You can able to remember only 2 topics only. That is the one kind of answer. Second kind of answer. So don't think about you are having the only 3 to 4 years of experience. Think about in which kind of project you are going to work. You don't know in which kind of project you are going to work. And for that reason, definitely you need to have knowledge about all these kind of topics. As I told you earlier, getting the job is not a difficult one. Survival is going to play the very important role. That's the reason if you want to survive in the real time without having any kind of issues, Andy, definitely have to prepare each and every topic, whatever we discuss as part of our classes. Okay. Any other questions?
Okay.
Okay. If no questions, thank you. Thank you, Lalita, for your time. So we'll come in the next session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
38, 42.